may be April Fool's Day, but you're safe here. Also, don't mind how my face looks currently, like it's still pretty messed up from the looks of it. So, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. We are here on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. So, originally, I was thinking about doing a playthrough on the Modern Warfare 3 campaign because it was honestly the only thing out of this game that I was really looking forward to, especially given how Modern Warfare 2 2022 ended up doing. I was very disappointed in that game, and it made my expectations for Modern Warfare 3 be at an astronomical low. So, but at the same time, I decided, you know what? At least we still have the campaign, because the campaign has always managed to be very good or at times decent. I was considering on doing a playthrough on the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, but then I was reminded of how many people were very disappointed at how the campaign turned out to be, especially when you take into account that it was so hyped up during the trailers en route to launch. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to play it on my own time and just take my time with it to just see how it really played out and what it culminated in. I've been well aware that the Modern Warfare 3 campaign is like the shortest campaign we've ever gotten in a Call of Duty title. As far as I remember, I think it takes you like up to 3 hours to complete if you happen to just beeline through the whole story. For me personally, I took my time playing through the campaign because I was trying to juggle multiplayer into the mix, but I did take my time playing through the campaign just so I can at least enjoy everything that it had to offer. One of the things that I do want to point out is the open combat missions. I do like the open combat missions as an idea. I think it's a pretty nice evolution for the missions in a Call of Duty campaign, especially when you take into account that for every Call of Duty we have gotten over the last 2 decades, in terms of how the missions have been structured and all that, you've always had to do things in a very linear fashion. So the fact that we were able to have a little more leeway in terms of how we want to approach missions and which objectives we got to do and such, the fact that we were able to have a little more freedom in how we can complete the mission, it is good. I do like that idea. However, you can only do it to some extent, as the game will expect you to complete the mission in a specific way or a specific order. But for the most part, I do like the fact that the open combat missions in the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, they do give you a little more freedom in terms of how you want to approach it. And while the idea of open combat missions in a Call of Duty campaign sounds great on paper, the execution just fell so flat. Put it this way, it's like they took specific aspects of either Warzone or Spec Ops and just implemented it into specific missions of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. There wasn't much depth to it, there wasn't much variety, there just didn't seem to be that much substance in terms of what to do within those missions. For me personally, I've always been a huge fan of being able to take on missions where I'm able to complete them however I want, because I do think that it gives the players more options in deciding how they want to tackle an enemy and overall complete a mission, especially when you're playing like open world games that give you the option and overall freedom to decide how you want to approach a scenario, who you want to take down specifically, and so forth. While the idea of open combat missions in a Call of Duty campaign, it's good on paper. I think it's a really good idea. It's just the execution, as I mentioned, it fell so flat, which is why I do think that there is room for improvement to be made in order for those missions in particular to be more fleshed out, to have more depth, and just make them all the more interesting for the player. I also do want to point out that the fate of specific characters in the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, I genuinely thought that in comparison to what we had in the OG Modern Warfare trilogy, the fate of specific characters that were handled in this current iteration of Modern Warfare, dude, I can't even tell you just how underwhelming it was to witness the death of specific characters that died in the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. I'll give you an example. Soap. You look at his death in the original Modern Warfare 3. He was a character that was built from the ground up, who had pretty good character development throughout the OG Modern Warfare trilogy, and he was somebody that you could develop a pretty good connection with and understand who he was as a person as you played each game. But then once you got to Modern Warfare 3, the soldier that you fought alongside with, along with Captain Price, Yuri, whoever else involved, seeing his death in the OG Modern Warfare 3 was so, it was just sad, it was heartbreaking, and it really hurt because he was a character that we grew up loving and admiring in the story. Like, he ended up dying, he ended up suffering the effects of that bombing when he was staking out the building that Makarov was arriving in, and once that place got bombed, he was dying a slow death. Like, he was bleeding out more and more as you progressed further in that mission specifically, and then once you got to the near end of that mission, he just ends up dying on the table, and it was just so heartbreaking to witness because you've seen this guy develop from ground zero to the character that we all know and love back then, and then you compare it to what we had with Soap in the newer Modern Warfare trilogy, and again, like, I just can't help but be so underwhelmed and just so disappointed as to how his death was handled this time around. And then you look at how Soap dies in the newer Modern Warfare 3. He basically just takes a bullet to the head from Makarov after failing to disarm the bomb that he had planted in the subway tunnels. I'm not even kidding when I tell you, I legit sat there witnessing his death with a complete blank face, just deprived of any care and overall emotion. It was just so underwhelming to witness. And now that I think about it, the character development of Soap in the newer Modern Warfare trilogy in comparison to what we had before, I honestly thought it wasn't like all that great, because it wasn't until Modern Warfare 2 where we really started to see the characters shine. We really started to actually get to know Soap and just see what this version of the character would be in comparison to before. I was really looking forward to seeing how Soap was going to evolve in the Modern Warfare storyline this time around, but unfortunately they had to kill him off in MW3 instead of just giving him more character development so that way we could develop a more deeper connection with the character. It was just such an underwhelming thing to experience that I did not appreciate at all. But at the same time, it is what it is. They had to think of something at the last minute, so at least that's what I'm assuming. Also, if you happen to notice the gameplay audio be out of sync during this video, it's mainly due to the fact that OBS is having a hard time trying to keep up with a lot of the things that are happening in game, which causes the audio to be out of sync. I'm not sure how to fix that, although I am gonna have to look into it eventually to figure out what is the issue. Another character death, General Shepard. You look at how General Shepard was handled in Modern Warfare 2, the OG Modern Warfare 2, and the way how he went out, it was done in such a gruesome, badass way that it made you think to yourself, yes, I am so glad we finally took this guy down. And then you look at how his death was handled in Modern Warfare 3, and you can't help but just be so underwhelmed and dissatisfied as to how his death was handled. It was just so underwhelming to see that I genuinely think Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer, they could have done a far better job with how they could have killed that character off. God damn it, man, I was about to go off for a moment. I will say though, shipment on this game, holy, it is a lot more sweatier on here than it was on MW2. But that's all thanks to movement, right? I will say one thing that I did enjoy about the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, and that was the return of Makarov. I look back at all of the villains that we have been introduced to throughout the years of Call of Duty, especially in the campaign specifically, and to tell you the truth, the one villain that has always captivated me the most was Vladimir Makarov. So when I found out that he was going to be making his return in Modern Warfare 3 after playing through the MW2 campaign, dude, I was so freaking hyped, man. I was so goddamn hyped because I was really interested in seeing how this character, how this iteration of the character was going to be handled this time around. I will say that even though Makarov didn't get much screen time in the Modern Warfare 3 campaign for his character to be properly developed over time, at the same time, what we did get to experience, it really has me pretty excited for what else we're going to see out of him, but also how his character is going to evolve as we get more Modern Warfare games down the road, or at the very least, see the Modern Warfare storyline continue to evolve in other Call of Duty games. Having him come back did bring a good amount of nostalgia, since he was somebody that a lot of people really admired as a villain, so for him to be able to come back this time around, and for him to embark on a whole new adventure with a whole new set of motives and such, it just really has me excited to see what the future holds for Vladimir Makarov. As far as like the overall time it took for me to complete the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, it took me like about a few days or so, mainly because I was trying to juggle multiplayer in the mix as well, so that's why I didn't end up beelining through the entire story. Although I am willing to bet that if I were to beeline through the entire Modern Warfare 3 campaign in one sitting, it would take me the same amount of time that it would take for me to complete every episode of the Modern Warfare 2 raids. Which, if I remember correctly, I think the raids in Modern Warfare 2, they take you like up to 40 minutes or so. I'm not too sure exactly because I never really got to play through all of them. But from what I've seen, I guess it takes you like that long to complete it, depending on how much time you take and so forth. Now, I don't want to put all of the blame on the developers, because at the end of the day, I am well aware that this is all Activision's fault. Activision, they set a deadline for the devs that contributed to the development of Modern Warfare 3. They placed a deadline for them to meet when they knew full well that these developers were not going to be able to meet that deadline for each mode in this game to be at a quality level that the players could be satisfied with. Now, you'll definitely be able to notice that if you did play the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. For me personally, I genuinely thought it was rushed, there wasn't much depth, and Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer and whoever else contributed, they just weren't able to have the time to properly cook, so that way they could put together a cohesive, solid story that would make the players better understand the motives of the characters that were involved, while simultaneously getting a good understanding of why the events occurred the way that they did in Warfare. It just really sucks because I really wanted this campaign to do so well, especially with how good it looked in the trailers and how hyped up people were to play it. Like, I really wanted it to do well, but unfortunately after playing it, it just did not live up to the hype. It just didn't, and it's such a shame because I love playing Call of Duty campaigns. Like, I'm sure I'm in the minority when I say that I genuinely still enjoy playing through the story mode in a Call of Duty game. And not only that, but every story that we have gotten in the Modern Warfare sub-series has always hit. There has rarely been a miss, but unfortunately for Modern Warfare 3, the campaign in particular, it was a miss. But regardless, I cannot fault the devs entirely because at the end of the day, they had to meet a deadline that they knew was going to be impossible for them to meet, and as a result, the quality was not at the level that we, the players, expect them to develop the game at. All in all, I am glad that I finally got to play the Modern Warfare 3 campaign because I really wanted to see if the amount of criticism that it got was warranted, and after playing it, I can honestly say the campaign did not live up to the hype. The ideas that they had for it, like the open combat missions and all that kind of stuff, on paper, it's a really good idea. I really do like that, and I really hope we get to see more of that in future Call of Duty titles, especially if the devs insist on implementing a story mode. I would like to see the idea of open combat missions be further evolved upon with more depth, more substance, etc. but unfortunately the execution with that in Modern Warfare 3, it just fell so flat. The fate of specific characters in this Modern Warfare trilogy in comparison to what we had back in the day was very underwhelming and dissatisfying, and overall it was a Call of Duty campaign that did not live up to the hype, unfortunately. It just failed to meet the expectations of any player that was looking forward to playing the story. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I gave it a 5. It was a very mediocre campaign, in my opinion. But I want to know from you guys, did you play the Modern Warfare 3 campaign? And if so, did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? Or do you have somewhat of a neutral stance on how you view the story in this game? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to know what you guys have to say. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, you're more than welcome to drop a like on it. And if you enjoy this type of content, you are more than welcome to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. I do intend on recording my grand finale video of our walkthrough on Yakuza 0. So if you are interested in checking that out, make sure you're subscribed. But until then, thank you all so much for watching. It's been your boy Discreet, and I'll catch you in the next video.